You are Locked On Pistons Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Detroit, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, fire me up. How about that? The Detroit Pistons go into Indiana and take care of the Indiana Pacers with a victory, 130-106. Now 3-0 in the NBA Cup. Welcome into a live Locked On Pistons postcast. I am your host, Jake Rietma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Rietma. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Black Friday. And let's talk about this one because it was one of the best Pistons games in recent memory. A huge bounce back win. We'll go over that. The Detroit Pistons came ready to play, and they are now 3-0 in the NBA Cup. And of course, we'll wrap up the program with our studs and duds. Here's a little spoiler for you. A lot more studs than duds tonight. I want to thank everybody for making the Locked On Pistons postcast your post-game destination. And don't forget that your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. That's right, introducing the Locked On Pistons daily newsletter. It's your one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. You can sign up for free right now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Pistons postcast. I want to give a huge shout out to Koo on the Locked On Pistons daily podcast. Make sure you're checking that out. You'll always learn something when you listen to Koo on the Locked On Pistons podcast. And how about a huge shout out to today's presenting sponsor? That's right, making the Locked On Pistons postcast possible. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. That's right. Make every moment more with FanDuel. FanDuel making the Locked On Pistons postcast possible. And right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets when you win that first $5 bet. That's right. Start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place that $5 bet and get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com to get started. My, oh my, and Special K said this, and I think I want to reiterate, this feels like the biggest Pistons win in recent memory. I'll say recent memory. Special K said 15 years. I'm not quite ready to go there. Regular season win, but it has been a while since we felt the juices, since we felt the excitement of a win like this. 130-106, and really controlling this one from the jump. Obviously having Cade Cunningham back in the lineup, having Tobias Harris back in the lineup, but what a difference a couple of days make. Maybe the Pistons just had the right recipe of some Thanksgiving turkey, some camaraderie, some fellowship, whatever it was during the holiday, because they bounced back after a really disappointing loss on Wednesday night in Memphis to bring their A game tonight against a tough Indiana Pacers team. And quite frankly, they were the better team from start to finish, controlled this game from the jump, and it offered a glimpse into what this Pistons team could be. I felt really good about the effort from the entire team as a whole. Really not a lot of weaknesses shown tonight. And one of the biggest things, and again, Special K said this was the biggest win in 15 years. You had Cade dishing out dimes after dime, 9+ assists in 10 consecutive games for Cade Cunningham. That's the longest streak since Isaiah Thomas back in 1989. So you love to see that from the Detroit Pistons as well. As far as a team effort, you had all of the starters in double figures. They were phenomenal. And then how about Malik Beasley just pouring in 25 points off the bench? He was plus 30 for the day. And my goodness, this is as good of a game as the Pistons can play. And listen, I will level with you right now. I get a little excited from time to time. That's why we tune into this. And as always, your comments are welcome on the Locked On Pistons postcast. But I'm fanboying for a little bit. And that's not something I've done for the Pistons in probably the better part of a decade. But watching tonight, you felt like, oh my goodness, it's happening. I feel, cue the Michael Scott, the gif when he says, oh my, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. It's happening. I really felt like this was a night to remember and a coming of the Detroit Pistons where you look at this game tape, you look at this film, and you say, this is the team that JB Bickerstaff and company are building. This is the team Cade is leading, and this is the team that the Detroit Pistons can be. Now, and it should be pointed out, one more group play game in the NBA Cup against Milwaukee. The Pistons will play Philadelphia tomorrow, so make sure you tune in for a live Locked On Pistons postcast after that game. But as far as the NBA Group Cup games go, Monday night against Milwaukee, that'll be a tremendous atmosphere, a chance for the Pistons to go undefeated in group play on Monday night against the Milwaukee Bucks. So fired up, feeling the adrenaline, the getting the goosebumps, that sort of thing here on a live Locked On Pistons postcast, because Detroit brought their A game tonight, and it was a really, really fun to watch. Some of the moments that stood out to me, and I encourage you to get involved as well. Let me know in the comments what moments stood out to you. But just overall, a tremendous first half. The Pistons came ready to play. I think it helped a great deal having Cade and Tobias back, as I mentioned. They got to that big lead in the third quarter with that 8-0 run to stretch it to 82-64. And you felt like, okay, each member of the supporting cast for the Detroit Pistons were making winning plays. It was all about winning plays tonight. Cade had a huge three to put the Pistons back up 100-85. And, you look at even guys like Tobias Harris, who was out the night before. He hit a three-pointer to put the Pistons back up 105-90. And it was just a sustained attack from start to finish in this one. And yeah, the Pacers were going to have their runs. Of course, they're a really good team as well. But to be able to withhold those runs and continue to put your best foot forward, and, it was almost like that heavyweight fight feeling where you got up in this game, and the Pacers might deliver a punch here, but the Pistons were right there to deliver the counter blow. And that is a sign of growth. It's a sign of this Pistons team maturing before our eyes. And I hope you can tell by how excited I am, fired up to see that all happen, because my, oh my, this is what Pistons fans have been craving. This is what we've been waiting for. And we saw a glimpse of it tonight with a huge win for the Pistons, 130-106. I mentioned the fast start. Detroit outscored the Pacers 33-24 in that opening frame in the first quarter. 30-29 in the second quarter. And then again in the third quarter is where they really took control of this game, 29-20 in the third quarter, and then outscored the Pacers 38-33 in the fourth quarter. So just a concerted effort from start to finish. And I also love the guys still playing hard, because listen, it's the NBA Cup, know the rules, play the games, point differential, winning margin of victory matters. And the Pistons were playing till the very final seconds, even had a last second dunk there to add 2 more points to the margin of victory. And you love to see that. And again, I from top to bottom, Tobias Harris, 16 points, Tim Hardaway Jr., 10 points, Jalen Duren, 14 points, Cade Cunningham, a huge game in his return to the lineup, 24 points, 11 assists. He was phenomenal tonight, 23 points for Jaden Ivey. You love to see how efficient he was from the floor, 8 of 13. And Simone Fontecchio getting in on the action with 5 points. He hit one big three-pointer, 1 of 1 from the long line. It was, again, only one made three-pointer, but it was a big three-pointer where, again, the Pacers were starting to make some runs. And then how about Malik Beasley, 25 points off the bench and 10 of 14 from the floor, 5 of 9 from the long line, plus 30. And again, you watch this game and you're just, if you're like me, and listen, everybody's different, totally get that. That's why I want everybody to get into the comments. Let me know how you feel on this one. But I admit I get pretty fired up with games like these, because you're watching the evolution. You're watching the development of these guys, of how long it's been and how long we've waited for a team like this to, be wearing the Pistons colors and sporting the Pistons uniform night in and night out. And it was so fun to see. So I'm fired up. I hope you are as well, because the Detroit Pistons are 3-0 in the NBA Cup, with one more NBA Cup group stage game coming on Monday night against the Milwaukee Bucks. Make sure you tune in for that one. Looking forward to that. And of course, they play the 76ers. I'm sorry, the game against the Bucks is on Tuesday. My apologies. Tuesday, December 3rd. So the Next game, though, will be against the 76ers. That's tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Eastern, and a very winnable game. Keep this momentum going. I know it's tomorrow night. It's not the NBA Cup, and you heard in the post-game interview with Cade Cunningham and then Malik Beasley, interrupting in the best of ways the post-game interview with Cade Cunningham, yelling, "Let's go to Vegas," because that's where the next round, the final round of the NBA Cup is. Let's go to Vegas. That's obviously on the guy's mind, but you love to see it in all aspects here from the Detroit Pistons, and the NBA Cup means something to them. So, and again, Greg Kessler said this was the biggest game in 15 years for the Detroit Pistons. I don't know if I'm quite ready to say that. It's a regular season game, but it has a little bit more sizzle to it, a little bit more higher stakes because of the NBA component to it, or NBA Cup component to it all. But man, it was fun to watch the Detroit Pistons tonight. And I don't want to speak for anybody else, but man, I felt really, really excited to watch this team put forth the effort that we saw tonight in a convincing win over the Indiana Pacers, 130-106. We'll take your comments next. We'll talk about what this win means and how the Pistons can continue to build this momentum, and we'll wrap it up with studs and duds. That's all coming up next on a live Locked On Pistons postcast. Don't go anywhere. We're just getting started on Locked On Sports Detroit. Hey, this episode of the Locked On Pistons postcast is brought to you by skylightframe.com/NBA. That's right. I need you to listen up and listen good. Do you struggle with gift giving? I know I do. Maybe you're missing someone this holiday season and you want them to be a part of your festivities from afar. Your loved ones are far away and you wish they could be close to you. Well, I've got the answer for you. And like I said, maybe gift giving isn't exactly your love language. Sometimes you overthink things and you wind up with something that isn't exactly what you're going for. Maybe it's a little bit disappointing, but no, forget all that because we've got the perfect gift for you. Introducing Skylight Frame. It's the touchscreen digital photo frame your whole family will love. They'll absolutely love it, my friends. You can upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear in just seconds. It's so easy to use. Setup takes less than 60 seconds, and this is what I love. Seamless sharing. Invite your friends and family to easily share the photos via the free Skylight mobile app or email them, and no account or subscription is required. You can add new photos straight from your phone from anywhere. It only takes a tap on your phone to send new photos to a frame across the country. It's the fastest, easiest way to keep your loved ones in the loop. They'll feel so much more connected to you, and you will feel like $1 million having given the best gift this holiday season. There's two sizes to choose from: the original 10-inch or larger 15-inch gallery frame. They look perfect in any room, and they can stand on their own, or you can easily mount them to a wall. I'm telling you, my friends, it checks every single box. And it's so much better than social media. And don't let me get started on this, because you get going in today's age, it's all about the social media, the likes, the clicks. No, forget about that. It's a great private way to share your photos without posting them for the rest of the world, or, having to print them and store hard copies. It is the perfect solution to every part of what's important this holiday season. So right now, as a special limited time offer for our listeners, you can get $20 off your purchase of a Skyline frame when you go to skylightframe.com/NBA. That's skylightframe.com/NBA. That's Skylight, SKYLIGHT, frame.com/NBA. Get $20 off on a Skylight frame at skylightframe.com/NBA. All right, as always, your comments are welcome on a live Locked On Pistons postcast. And there should be a lot of comments because let me tell you, Detroit dominated 130-106 over the Indiana Pacers. And with the win, the Pistons moved to 9-12 on the season, 5-7 on the road. Pacers fall to 9-11 and 7-3 at home because it's a tough place to play in Indiana there to earn the victory. You got to love that. Pistons 3-0 in the NBA Group Cup phase. Now, let's get to those comments. A lot of people checking in, and we always love to start with some of our regulars. Demetrius McNeil, what's up, my man? He says, Jake, here's the situation for Tuesday night. The winner of the Bucks Pistons not only wins Group Cup B of the NBA Cup, but they go to the knockout round. How did the Pistons come to Indianapolis and win? I'll tell you how. It was a concerted effort from each and every member of this Detroit Pistons team. 6 different players in double figures, all 5 starters dominated in terms of plus or minus. I know you guys love when I get into the plus or minus, but Tobias Harris was plus 27, Tim Hardaway Jr. plus 10, Jalen Duren plus 21, Cade Cunningham plus 13, and Jaden Ivey plus 15. Sprinkle in some exceptional bench performances like you had from Malik Beasley, who was plus 30 with 25 points, and very efficiently, I may add, 10 of 14 from the floor, 5 of 9 from the long line, and you have a dominant performance from the Detroit Pistons, 130-106. So Demetrius McNeil, my friend, that's how it happened. Another comment to get here from Darley Sheared, Detroit basketball. That's right. It feels like 2004 again. All right. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but you understand what I'm going with how good the Pistons looked tonight. It felt like a playoff game. I know George Blaha and Special K Greg Kessler said that a couple of different times. You had JB Bickerstaff making all the right adjustments, making all the right rotations. And again, I know it's a simplistic take to say, hey, they just got to do this every time and we'll be just fine. But it really felt like that tonight, where you guys know, whether you watch a Locked On Pistons postcast, whether you watch a Locked On Lions postcast, Locked On Wolverines postcast, or Locked On Tigers postcast, I am big in sustaining this, bottling it up, and using it as what this team can be. And from a film study perspective, this is the tape you put on and say, this is what you guys are capable of. This is exactly what we can be. And when we play like this, we can beat a lot of teams. And I hope the Pistons will continue to utilize that concerted effort in what we saw tonight. And I know it's not just something that you can roll the basketball out and do on a night in and night out basis, but man, every single angle of this game. And listen, if you've watched the program once or if you watched it 1,000 times, you know, if it's worth being critical of the Detroit Pistons, I will be critical of the Detroit Pistons. But tonight, it was effective game plan. It was an excellent performance from start to finish. Each and every member of this Detroit Pistons team played exceptional, and that's what you love to see. Now, as a team, Pistons shot 48 of 83 from the floor, 57.8% from the floor. So they were efficient. They were getting good looks, a lot of slam dunks. You love to see that. From the three-point line, they were 18 of 38, 47.4%, which is excellent. Better free throw shooting as well, 16 of 20, which is 80%. They out-rebound the Pacers 44-32. There were a number of offensive rebounds mixed in there, and as well as assists, 35 assists to 18 turnovers. The 18 turnovers still a little bit high. You want to bring that down a little bit. But again, remember the other night, it was the same amount of turnovers as it was assists. So that being said, a much more improved, efficient night tonight from the Detroit Pistons as a whole. And at one point, they led in this game by 26 points, which is just phenomenal stuff. So all in all, listen, I'll be critical of the Detroit Pistons when it's meant to be critical of them, but tonight was a lot of fun. The only downfall, the only drawback, and this is going to be old man get off my lawn, old man yelling at clouds, whatever you want to call it. But can we stop with the NBA court, or the NBA Cup courts? They are so hard to look at. The blue for the Pacers, it's an eyesore. I mean, every single NBA Cup court is so hard to look at. And I know there's going to be comments of, hey, shut up, get off my lawn, old man. But I just cannot stand the NBA Cup courts. Can we please just get a tradition? You want to put a little logo or something at midcourt, or even at, the portion of the court on the side. Like, I think back to the Palace, there was that little Palace logo on the portion of the court. That's fine, but I don't need these wacky, colorful courts. They're so hard to look at. And again, tonight was a reminder of that. But that was the only negative of tonight. And I'm curious if anybody else feels that way. But the courts are so hard to look at. But that being said, fired up for a Detroit Pistons win, because why wouldn't you be after they take down the Pacers 130-106? We're going to tie a bow on this one with our studs and duds. Don't go anywhere. That's coming up next on a live Locked On Pistons postcast here on Locked On Sports Detroit. Hey, this episode of the Locked On Pistons postcast is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats. You can view live play-by-play and so much more, all on the same page where you place your bets. That's right. FanDuel.com. It's your one-stop shop for everything you need. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com and join today. And don't forget, when you get started, you'll get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right. Appreciate everybody spending their Friday evening on a live Locked On Pistons postcast. If you're catching the audio-only version, hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. If you're catching the live version, hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Let me know what you're thankful for in the comments. I'm thankful for excellent Detroit Pistons basketball like tonight, and that was certainly a Thanksgiving gift for all of us to enjoy that effort from the Detroit Pistons tonight. And as far as the studs and duds portion of the program, we got a lot to get into because it's going to take a while to cover every single stud tonight because there were a lot of stud-worthy performances. So I don't know if this is a cop-out or if people will appreciate this, but I'm giving the starting five a stud performance because each and every one of them were in the plus minus. They were all in double figures. They all played their game. And again, it was great to have the Detroit Pistons back at full strength. Tobias Harris with 16 points, but he was plus 27. He was 2 of 5 from the three-point line, 5 of 8 from the floor, 4 of 4 from the foul line, plus 27. Tim Hardaway Jr. with 10 points. He was plus 10. And even though he missed a couple of important threes, listen, he wasn't the guy that is going to lead this team to victory by any means, but he did enough to be a contributing part of a winning effort here tonight. And I know that sounds like a limited or a low expectation, but again, he was a part of a team effort tonight. That's the biggest theme of tonight was the team effort. 14 points for Jalen Duren. He was plus 21 from the floor, 10 rebounds on the defensive side and 2 offensive boards. So 12 total rebounds for Jalen Duren. Nice little double action there. 24 points for Cade Cunningham with 11 assists. I mentioned this in the open, but certainly worth repeating. That is now 10 consecutive game with 9+ assists for Cade Cunningham. And the last Piston to do that was Isaiah Thomas in the 80s. So it's been a while since a member of the Detroit Pistons had gone 10 consecutive games with 9+ assists. Cade Cunningham did that tonight, and it was so great to have him back in the lineup. Jaden Ivey, 23 points, plus 15. 4 of 4 from the foul line, 8 of 13 from the floor. Go ahead and add 6 assists to that as well. And my goodness, Jaden Ivey, another efficient night from him, which is always the biggest talking point for Jaden Ivey. So great stuff all the way around. This is the Detroit Pistons team that we hope to continue to see. This is the Detroit Pistons team that is 3-0 in the NBA Cup. This is the Detroit Pistons team led by JB Bickerstaff that we, and I say we because collectively we have high expectations for them and what they can be. So fun night tonight. I don't even have any duds for you. If somebody wants to give a dud in the comment, I'll wait about another 30 seconds. Let me know, because I just did not see any duds tonight from the Detroit Pistons. And maybe I'm just getting into that festive holiday spirit of this, that, or the other. But man, I feel like there were no duds tonight, and that's why it is one of the more enjoyable studs and duds portions of a live Locked On Pistons postcast. So that being said, Pistons beat the Pacers 130-106, the final in this one, 3-0 in the NBA Cup, 9-12 overall, 5-7 for the season. Hey, want to remind you, don't forget, my friends, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Pistons daily newsletter. It's your one-stop for ultimate team and league coverage, and it's delivered right to your inbox. You can sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Pistons newsletter. Shout out to Koo on the Locked On Pistons daily podcast. Make sure you check that out as well. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on YouTube as well. My name is Jake Rima. I am a part of Locked On Sports Detroit, where we bring you all the post-game action in the form of postcast. So tomorrow we have a Locked On Pistons postcast, of course, but also a Locked On Wolverines postcast after their game against the Ohio State University. So can Michigan pull the upset? Make sure you tune into that game, and we'll be live on Locked On Sports Detroit after that. Thanks so much for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you that choose to make Locked On Sports Detroit part of your consumption. We appreciate that. And as always, have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next time tomorrow for a doubleheader on Locked On Sports Detroit. Love you guys.